Okay, hi. This week's is falling for your best friend, which I actually know a lot about. I have a lot of experience with the whole falling in love with your best friend thing. I do it a lot. I have 3 separate stories to tell. First, I'm just gonna go in order of how they happened. First, we had Jeremy. And what happened with him was he was like a family friend, so he was a lot older than me too. He came along to help me and my family move from one house to another. And whenever we were moving in, I hadn't started school yet, it was over the summer. So with me having to get used to the new place and everything, he came to stay at the house with me, at the new house, so that I wouldn't be alone there at night, because I'm afraid of the dark and all this other crazy stuff. And so I started to hang out with him a lot, and he's a great dude. I mean, he's kind of sometimes a lot of people don't like him, but he's a really nice guy. And so slowly just by hanging out with him so much, I started to fall for him. And the thing about him was, like I said before, he's a lot older than me, but he also had a girlfriend too. He still has a girlfriend, actually. They're engaged now, but he obviously he didn't really notice that I was so into him, but I really was. And eventually I just kind of had to tell myself that I just needed to get over it, because it was never going to happen, and there was just no chance ever. So if you're falling for someone like that, who you know that there's absolutely no chance in the world that it's going to work out, if, say, fall in love with a straight friend who's the same sex as you are, and you know that there's no way that they're hiding the fact that they're gay or bi or anything, then that's what you have to do. You just kind of have to sit and you have to tell yourself over and over that it's not going to happen, and that it's not going to work out. And eventually, through doing that and having the support of other friends, you learn to get over it. And shortly after, well, not shortly after, really, I got over Jeremy probably in maybe, I'm not quite sure when, but a bit after that, there was this kid named Sean. And a bit after that, there was this kid named Sean. And this was the big one. Or no, I'm doing this wrong. Sean was the most recent one. Catherine came next. My best friend Catherine, who we're still very, very close. Whenever Jeremy helped me move into that new house, I had to change schools too, because the house that I had moved into in the town and everything was outside of my district, or my old district. So I changed schools, and I didn't necessarily fit in right away. I didn't make a lot of friends right off the bat, but I did alright, I guess. And, sorry, cat. And, I had this art class, and I sat at this table, across the room from where I ended up sitting for the rest of the year, and that was just for the first day. And whenever I came back the next day, all the seats were already taken, because apparently they'd forgotten that I was sitting there yesterday. So I moved to this other table, the first table was over here, and the other table was back here. And Catherine was sitting there, and she didn't talk to me at first. She kind of glared at me a little bit sometimes, and she didn't know who I was. Well, we had to take these the tables had these cubby hole cabinet kind of things underneath them, and there weren't enough for everybody to have their own, so you had to share them with somebody else. So she looked at me and she asked if I wanted to share the bin, and I said sure. And so she had to ask me for my name because we had to write down our names on this piece of paper. And so I told her my name was Sam, and all of a sudden her like whole demeanor just changed. And she got really nice. And I found out later that what happened was that she thought that I was this girl who she like wanted to beat up because they had some problems, I guess. And so after that we became best friends, and I started hanging out with her all the time. And Catherine is this really great girl. Like, she's really sweet and she's really nice, but she's also straight. And she knows that I'm bi, and she doesn't care. Like, she thinks it's awesome. And the only thing was that, like, I was so blah with her. Like, I would marry that girl if I could. And even still, I probably would. Because, like, I don't know, I still have, like, the biggest girl crush on her ever. And, sorry, I keep playing with my hair, but it's not, anyways, so yeah, I still have a huge girl crush on her, and I would still go out with her if given the opportunity, but she's engaged now too, so, I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. And, I got over that by basically the same thing as how I did Jeremy. I kind of just sat and realized, like, it wasn't going to work out, but I was always going to be her friend. And that's what kind of got me through it, was, like, just knowing that I was always going to be her friend. You know, that's something I didn't really have with Jeremy, and while we're still friends now, I didn't know at the time that he was always going to be around. And, so, if a situation like that arises, then you can know that, like, you're always going to have one of a friend. Assuming, like, they know about you and, you know, you guys are really close, then they're pretty much always going to be there. Basically guaranteed. And, the last story is the hardest one to tell because it still hurts a lot, even though I'm in another relationship now. I met this boy, Sean, and he lived in North Carolina, and he was dating one of my friends at first whenever I first met him, and so we were just really close friends for a while, and we were like best friends, and I told him everything, and he knew everything about my life, he knew everything about me, he was always there for me no matter what, and after a while he broke up with my friend, and he was kind of single for a while, but we were still best friends, and he dated this other girl, not gonna use names, even though I almost just did, and, he dated this other girl, and they broke up, and after they broke up, he called me, and, it kind of, like, blossomed into a sort of relationship, actually, for a while, but it went really bad a couple months ago, and the whole thing just crumbled and went terrible, and now he's gone. He's not my friend anymore. We don't talk. I tried my hardest to hold on to our friendship at least, and it just didn't work out. There wasn't a point anymore because I was always going to have those feelings for him, and he was not going to return them. So that's another thing. If you fall in love with one of your best friends, I wouldn't advise you start a relationship with them, because that ruins friendships really easily, especially ones like, it was essentially just like a summer romance, and I know that's not, summer romances aren't necessarily in the same category as regular relationships, but what we had was short-lived, but it was real. At least it was real to me. I don't know if it was real to him or not, but if you fall in love with your best friends, try to avoid starting a relationship with them, because I know, well, in my experience, it's ended badly. I've heard of other people who, you know, fall for their best friends, and you know, get into relationships with them, and they end up married somewhere down the road. But my advice is to try to avoid it, because it didn't end well for me, and I wouldn't want to see anybody else experience that kind of hurt and pain and all those other stuff, because he left me with nothing. I didn't even know how to. I hardly even knew how to live anymore. So, yeah. Okay. So, this has been long, but it's just because I have a lot of experience on this topic. So, yeah.